Hello, Pagorn here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today we're going to discuss the Linkin Park remix. Pretty fresh on my mind at the moment, so I have a lot of things that I could say and hopefully provide that'll help explain what's going on here. Um, this screen capture thing is a really weird. It's taken me a long time to find a way to provide this content for you guys. My computer is freaking out right now trying to do this. I had to remove some stuff that I had just to make this doable. Um, so I apologize for that. It's not ideal. I wish I could just run this session exactly how I had it. The only things I had to remove was some of the stuff, some of the outboard equipment that was used, and it was honestly used more in the mastering stage anyways. So if anybody wants to know how I mastered the song, we could go through that separate. The only thing that was part of the mix that I removed was a little outboard compressor that was on the main vocal tracks. So you're really not missing out on too much here. Cool. So let's get into the creative side of things. The session and the original idea for this track was I'm going to try something too really quick. 1 second. Okay, so this is like I have like a mic mute that you're supposed to push down with your foot, and for some reason I've been holding it down with my hand, not trusting that my foot was like strong enough to push it down. So this will make it a lot easier for me. I'm now using my foot. So, okay, so anyways, the initial idea was to have this whole thing line up with the original Reddit post. So really it was like, okay, so I want the whole thing to just be basically verbatim that Reddit post. So I knew I was going to start with this, and I'm getting updates, and I'm sorry. I'm assuming that's coming through the OBS. I don't know. Like I said, this is a weird routing situation. I'm not familiar with how this is going to pan out, but we'll see. So here is the original idea that I was going to start with the vocal.
Living with a small deformed dick is a living hell. I can't take it anymore. The pain is getting too much.
So I definitely knew I wanted to start with that. I wanted it to line up perfectly with the Reddit post, and that was kind of the big thing, right? So I knew that was gonna be like a chuggy kind of thing, like dun dun dun, and I didn't want the song to exactly start with that. And I was kind of worried that I wouldn't be able to come up with a cool Linkin Park-esque intro, but I did kind of manage to do that too, which is kind of exciting. But anyways, I knew I was gonna start with some chugs on the guitar and maybe some of those like harmonic things like this. That's a pretty characteristic Linkin Park thing, is dissonant kind of harmonics on the guitar. But I definitely started with drums on this song. So with the drums, if we look, let's see, if we come over here and just check out the whole drum track, all the drums are here. I do use MIDI drums for most of these. So they're fake drums. The sounds are coming from Superior Drummer. I've had this for a long time. It's not the best one. It's not the worst one. I've had probably every type of drum plugin that you could come up with. So I've used it all. And this just is the one that just, I don't know. I just tend to use it. It's not even my favorite one, honestly. There's another one, like the Joey Sturgis one. But for some reason, my computer just doesn't like using it. So I don't know. I use this one. It's good. The preset is called Linkin Park, blah, 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 blah. But it really is just the Metal 1 preset. Like, it's the same thing as that Metal 1 preset on here. So if you were going into the Create section and you clicked on Metal 1, that would be pretty much this preset. Okay. I changed, like, maybe just the routing. And when I change the routing, I like to save those kinds of things just so I don't have to do it all over again. And the routing that I did was... I'll show you under the mix section. The kick is going out of output 1. The snares are all going out of output 2. The toms are 3 and 4. I only use 2 toms. Overheads are in 5, and then the room mic is in 6. So that's what all this is. Okay, so the drum sound just straight out of Superior Drummer would have sounded like this. Now I am busting all of these from output so it's kind of going like this. It's like Superior Drummer's here. Each channel is getting processed, and from there they're all going into this drum bus where they're being processed as one, like one whole track. And it's still MIDI information. It's not ever bounced into audio, but I just don't do it so I can continue and go back through and edit things if I want. So anyways, here's the drums with no processing. And you can already kind of hear my machine starting to wig out a little bit, which is concerning. Okay, so this would be the kick drum right here, just on its own. Okay, and if you add effects, it would go like this. So it kind of makes it go a little deeper. I'm going to turn my fan off so you guys don't have to hear that the whole time. 1 second. Okay, so that should be a lot better for you guys. My computer fans are still going, but whatever. So here's the kick. And I'll show you guys the EQ stuff on there. The EQ did eventually change. At first, it was a little bit more knocky over here, and there was a little bit more click to it. But I just kind of adjusted it to match more of the original song, like the Linkin Park "Numb." That's kind of the reference I went off of for this one. So honestly, the EQ, you'll hear the difference. You could listen to it really quick. Very subtle stuff, but this compressor is doing something kind of cool. It's a slower attack, slow attack. How would you say it? Slow attack. I guess fast release, right? And that just kind of makes it It adds a little bit more of the overall decay to the signal, and it doesn't really affect the attack. So it's kind of a cool sound for kick. It kind of makes it more of a breathy kick. See if you can hear that. And that's not adding any volume. Sorry, stupid pedal. Not adding any volume. It's just adjusting the signal. So I try to make it so it doesn't make or add any volume to the signal. So it's kind of just going. It's adding a little bit more of like a exhaling kind of sound to it. And really, the Vitamin here is awesome. This is like, if Waves only ever made one plugin that was good, they made Vitamin, because it's fantastic. It really just sounds so good. So this is a harmonic exciter / like EQ. It's not really an EQ. It's kind of like based around different crossover points, meaning like different frequency spectrums. And so this would be the low mids, high mids, highs, and you just add more or less. This is where it, like a stereo widener. So with the low end, you just make it so it's not wide. You typically want low end in mono. So see if you can hear this. To me, it just beefs it up so much. I mean, you can overdo it a lot as well. But just throwing it on especially percussion, throwing that on percussion to me is just like, it kind of guarantees that in the final mix it's going to be punchy enough, you know. Snare right here. Kind of a cool ringy snare. EQ, for me that's just general snare drum EQ. Um, Boosting a little bit of the low end, like the thump, a little bit of the crack of the snare, and top end, which I did add even more top end to it. Cutting here might have been the right move. It might not have been. I don't really know. In the final mix, it probably would have been better to actually boost it or just leave it where it is. But I don't know. This is kind of more the ring of the snare in this particular snare, and I don't know. I don't like super ringy snares, but to match the record, you would probably go a little bit more. But I did end up cutting it. I don't know. So here's the snare with the EQ. Cool. Really, the thing that makes this snare sound is this API channel strip. I'm using a little bit of a boost, I think at like 6K or 8K, whatever that is. It's hard to read. Just 2 dB, because APIs work in 2 dB increments. And then I'm using the built-in API compressor, which to my ears just sounds like phenomenal. It's just like the sound of 2000 snare drums, you know. It really brings out like that ringing sound in the snare. Once again, Vitamin here is just killing it. Sounds really cool. Boosting some low mids. And yeah, see if you like this. See if you can hear it. Also, I brought the stereo spread down a little bit in the low mids just so it's nice and centered. That's really just like making the entire snare sound right there. And then this last EQ is just boosting more top end, which I probably did just to make it, when I got to the final mix, I just had to add a little bit more top end to get it to kind of sizzle. Okay, moving on. Toms, we'll skip toms because I did nothing to the toms. Probably out of laziness more than anything, but they didn't need much, and I barely used them in the song, so cool. So let's go to the overheads. Give me 1 second. I'm going to adjust this mute pedal thing really quick. Listen to the overheads again with the EQ this time and see if you can hear the difference. It'll be pretty dramatic. I cut a lot of low out, and then I boost 12.5 K because I read that one time online, and that just ended up being like the thing that I do. I don't know. Okay. So let me see something. If I hit the... I see. Okay, well that's fine. I'll just use this. Hopefully the noise of my mic isn't too annoying. It's kind of annoying to try to use this mute thing, so... Okay. Here is the overheads. So that's the compression on the overheads, my bad. I should have said that instead of here's the overheads, but whatever. So that's the compression. It's very little. Probably not even doing anything, but okay, and then this is the room mic. I cut out some of the high mids. This EQ looks stupid. It doesn't really, it's not doing much. Really, this is what's doing all the work. I'm not very proud of what that EQ looks like. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Here's the room mic. This will be pretty dramatic, though. You'll hear this. I think you'll hear it. Hold up, let's see. I think it's let me go to a part where the cymbals really start going in. Let's see. So what you do with room mics sometimes is you crush them. I guess I probably didn't end up crushing them. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, you could have. If I did it, it would sound more like. It must have just not really been the right fit for it to be that crushed. So I just probably just compressed it lightly. Um, Sometimes if you overdo that, it can be a little bit annoying. So I probably just didn't want to overdo it. So, anyways, I had this little drum groove going. Let's see. I gotta go boom. Let's listen to the whole drum bust. So the beginning of the song was like when I first started writing it and like putting it together, it was like this. And then the bus compressor. This is doing something. I'm guaranteeing it's doing something. I didn't just want to use this on everything, I promise. Okay, so here's the drum bus. Drum bus meaning every drum that's being sent here is being compressed as one, like together. So to me, that's making a big difference between the kick and snare. It's kind of making them tighter, and not letting them poke out quite as much, um, which is good in the grand scheme of things. So, anyways, and back to the kind of creative production side of things, I knew I was gonna start with some chuggy guitars. So, here are the chugs, as I called them. And this session's hard to navigate. There's a lot of stuff on this one. But the chugs, I wonder if it'll play if I do this. It should. And then I added this a little bit later, but pretty much right at the same time. Okay, one thing you'll notice is look at how these waveforms look. That's because they're so edited. If you ever listen to like the actual stems of Linkin Park mixes, everything is so unbelievably on the grid, like very highly edited. Um, I don't normally like if you listen to the Dio remix, there's like hardly I don't think there's any edits. Like it's just straight, how it would have been on tape back in the day. But trying to mix, in the 2000s people got heavy-handed with editing, So all those records kind of have that highly edited guitar sound. Eventually some of the EQ changes were made on the guitar. If you listen to this was actually an SG, a Gibson SG with humbuckers in it. The guys from Linkin Park all play Gibsons, at least to my knowledge, so it felt like the right fit. I don't particularly love this guitar, but it does have a nice bitey sound to it. I think it's just kind of hard to get rid of some of this. So you'll hear it actually. See if you can hear it. It's got like this weird ringy sound to it. See if you can hear it. I'm trying to whistle it. So after all those notes, you're kind of hearing this. And it's just based on the way that I guess I guess it's like where the nut on the guitar is. It just makes the strings kind of resonate in a way that's just not really pleasant for recording. So I don't like that. But besides that, everything was cool. So when I went to EQ them, I tried to pull some of that out. It's like in this area. So I did what I could, but it's kind of just part of that guitar sound. So it's all right. The other EQ on the guitars is here. Scooping mids, boosting highs, which is stupid because I did the exact opposite later. Just I don't know what I was thinking. That probably sounded good to my ears, at least while I was recording, and then when it came down to mixing, I probably changed it. Um, put the API on it. You'll see this all over this mix because to me that's just I don't know. It's just what I like. I don't know. Um, compressing distorted guitars is kind of pointless. You just want to do like a small amount because distorted guitars don't have a lot of dynamic range anyways. This really was the thing that ended up this is what matters. Out of everything I just showed you on those guitars, this is actually what matters. Um, when I got to the final mix and I started referencing the Linkin Park mix, I realized they cut a lot of high mids out of their guitars, probably so they can bring the overall level up without it being harsh. So, and they actually had a lot more mid range than I initially thought. So I boosted some mid range. See if you can hear. This will be dramatic, I think. Also, this is a dynamic EQ band, meaning that it's an EQ band that activates a little bit more when it's being pushed. So that's really what that is. That's why it's kind of ducking down sometimes. Um, that is Pro Q3. It's probably my recommendation if you're doing anything audio. It's $150 or something like that. But honestly, it's like the Swiss Army knife of audio production. You can kind of, it's worth it. I'm sorry, it just is. Cool. So that kind of gives us, that brings us about to let's go to the mix window. It brings us to this is what we had at the very beginning of the song. So where's the drum bus? All right. Cool. In retrospect, I probably should have added like that last little part, added EQ to it. But you know, these things matter to the extent that like they're bothering you, and it must not have bothered me enough, so it made it in the final mix without any EQ on it. Cool. Kind of something I want to address is the intro. So I had that part. And I was like, well, no Linkin Park song really starts like that. Every Linkin Park song that I know of, which is like 3 of them, starts with some kind of cool DJ thing, you know? So that's really like the fun stuff. So I just called this DJ stuff. And some of these are hidden, so let's see if I unhide them. What I had to start was, and I can't find it. Okay, I had this. This is just a pad. And I bounced it down, okay? So I just took this pad sound. It's almost like a stock Logic sound, I think. Let's see why it's not playing. Could it be... Let's just do this. And that didn't fix it either. Okay, so that's not playing. Maybe it's inactive. I might have froze it. Actually, I know why it's not playing. Hold up. This can go back out here. I gotta turn this up. Let's see. So a fairly generic little pad. And what I did was I ran it through. I don't know if I still have it up here in active. But I ran it through a plugin on Logic that's just called, let's see. I think it's under multi effects. It's called Step Effects, like this. So I ran it into this, and I essentially started just randomly picking ones like this. Let's see if I can get it to do the thing. One sec. See if this works. So I just picked random ones like that, bounced them down, and then chopped them together. So I just had a variation of random little, I guess you call them like LFOs, or I don't even really know what they're called, but just little choppy things. And I cut them up, so I bounced them into like 4 different ones or whatever. Actually, that's not right. That's not what those are. But I bounced it into a bunch of different ones, and then I put them all together. So I had this. Kind of like a choppy little sound. And then I put on this auto pan, which this is a free plugin, and they have like a whole bundle. Very worth your time. There's an auto tune plugin that's like pretty. I mean, it's not the best, but if you got nothing, it's pretty good. A lot of good, like useful little tools, and I use this company's stuff like all over this mix, just because it's free, and I like to use free stuff because even if I can afford the nice stuff, it's nice to just have the free stuff because I know that if I'll never lose it. You know, I always have access to it. So if I need to go back and use it on like revisit a mix, I have it for free. So this is the auto pan. See if you like. So what it's doing is just kind of panning back and forth, and that saves you a lot of time with automation. So. So that makes a big difference just in the grand scheme of things, having things moving around. It's nice and fun. Cool. And then this is at the beginning of the song. It's just been moved down here and some reverb was added to it. And it's fading in. So the very beginning of the song, it's the same thing. It's just here. Okay, and then that I think it's like it's freezer effects. It's like really icy sounding. I don't know how to describe it besides that. Cool. This is a drum groove that's just in Logic. Like if you go to the loop section or something. So it sounds like this. And actually the original loop sounds like this. And that sounds like ridiculous, kind of, right? So I put it through a major filter. Cool. You'll also notice, I don't know if I edited it. I think it's just the same thing. Added the auto pan again to it, so check it out. For some reason, I added more EQ. I don't know why. I guess I added top end. That's dumb. I don't know why I did that because I removed all that over there. You don't always think logically when you mix or when you're going after sounds, especially in the production side. When you start mixing, you do start thinking maybe a little bit more logically, but on the production side, you're just trying to get things moving, at least close to what you want them like. Tremolo, see what this is doing. It's kind of adding that like more of a echoey kind of thing to it, even though it's not an echo. It's kind of making it a little bit more choppy sounding. Actually, I'm glad I did that. That sounds cool. Frequency shifter. Let's see. And these are all these free plugins like I was talking about. And you'll see there is automation on that. That's why it's moving on its own. And then apparently another EQ, which, okay, so this was done likely just to lower the volume of it. I do this sometimes. I'll open an EQ plugin and just bring the volume all the way down, so I don't have to rewrite the automation. It's just a workaround that I've discovered, even though I could have just used the clip feature right here, which I eventually did anyways. I don't know. Okay, so final result. Cool. From there, there's these like DJ scratchy sounds, which these weren't me. I will say these were just pulled in from some YouTube video. I think it was open source. I think I'm allowed to use them, so whatever. And I did a lot of stuff to it, so without it, it sounded like this. Like it sounded like, I don't know, kind of. I mean, it's cool, but just like goofy, you know. So this EQ was added to it. The auto panner, another EQ, more tremolo, more frequency shift, and then a reverb to it, which whatever. I don't know why I did that. It's probably why my computer is like freaking out right now because it's got a million reverb plugins on this thing. But see what this sounds like. So the big thing there is the auto pan, right? Probably some of the frequency shift too, but you know, you just throw things at the wall and see what sticks with a lot of this stuff. Okay, the numb keys. Those were a sound from Contact. See, I don't know. It's frozen, so I might not be able to access it. Anyways, Contact 5 has the... If you guys own it, you'll know what it is. It's like, it's the blue one, the hybrid keys thing, or whatever it's called. It's been around for ages, and I think it's free with Contact, so a lot of people probably are familiar with it. You could have used any sound. I bounced it down. Apparently there was a reverb added to it, whatever, some EQ. But I bounced it down, added a little bit more top end when I got to the final mixing stage, and I realized that the sound from the keys from Numb are a little bit, I don't even know if they're keys, but they have more top end to them, or like high mids. I guess this is just mids, but yeah, so I added that. And those clicks, poppy kind of sounds that you're hearing are my computer freaking out a little bit, but whatever. It's not too distracting, I don't think. So we should be okay. We can continue. Cool. So that's most of the DJ stuff. There is a little symbol. I don't know why it's called digital errors because that's not what that is. These are symbols swelling. So they're just little symbols that I take a ride cymbal, reverse it, and then on Logic Pro you have to make a new track to unreverse it. It's really stupid. Because like if you just reverse like this track or whatever, it'll reverse the other one. So actually it's not doing that because I bounced it down, but whatever. So that's why there's two of them. But I don't know how many of you guys use Logic. If you guys ever have questions about that stuff, just let me know. I'll explain it. Because that stuff drives me nuts. Like trying to find out how to do all these kind of basic things that it's hard to find information about. So here's the symbols. Just a little transitional thing. Often overlooked, but pretty important in my opinion. So as we kind of get past the intro, we end up with, like, I just called this DJ stuff, right? So this is kind of the whole intro with all the kind of electronic stuff. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Um, Kind of hard to come up with stuff like that because you're kind of going into it blind. You're looking for sounds, and it can be really like hard to just put something together. You know, I'm sure some guys are really good at that. I kind of struggle with that sometimes. Um, we get to the little verse, living with a small, whatever, and then there's these harmonics. I think I might have already talked about that. I'm not sure, but the harmonics. Um, cool bass part. Here's the bass sound. Um, Kind of the raw bass sound is this. Once again, highly edited, like absurdly edited, way more than I would ever do with most other things. I did put a Pultec on the bass. Once again, UAD. All the UAD stuff, in my opinion, just sounds phenomenal. Um, I wish it wasn't like so expensive and taxing on your computer, but I don't know, man. It's just like nothing really comes that close, in my opinion. It's just really good. So Pultec on the bass. See if you can hear the difference. And I know like there's artifact stuff from the editing, but I don't know. I didn't really think it mattered that much. But yeah, Pultec on the bass. The typical bass Pultec thing is you boost the low, and then you attenuate the low, boost the high, attenuate the high. If you do that on just about anything, it'll sound good. Pro Q3, removing some of the top end, the bitey stuff, the barky stuff. I ended up boosting like a lot of bass, like way more than I normally would. Just controlling some of the mid range. I wanted mid range. I just didn't want it. So that's what the dynamic band is for. I'm able to boost it, but then if it gets too much, it'll reduce it. Vitamin, boosting a lot of low end, some low mid, and another channel EQ, which is, I guess, I don't know. You look at this stuff and you're like, all right, well, I guess that's what it is. So, but yeah, let's listen with before and after all the effects processing. So, before will be this. And I mean, in a dense mix, that's kind of what you tend to do to a bass. Is you kind of have to cut a lot of stuff out of it. Um, I don't know. Like I said, it's just what it ended up being. Okay, so the string arrangement. I can't play the MIDI. I don't think right now. Let's see. I don't think it'll play because it's frozen. But I will just show the MIDI alongside the audio that I bounced from the MIDI. These are called strings. Really, one of them is strings, and the other one's another Contact 5 sample thing that's just kind of weird. It's very low in the mix. I wasn't really totally happy with it, but here's the arrangement. Let me see if I can bring that up for you guys. It should be. I guess it's just going direct, so hold up. So I kind of like it 'cause it's weird. It's not like a regular arrangement, and it's just following whatever Nick's saying. If you hear it with the vocal, I think it'll sell you on it a little bit more. So here's the vocals with the strings. I think it starts in the chorus, so.
Too much every day. I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick. It would be a totally different world. I have no motivation for anything because of my dick. I reject every girl who comes close, and I feel intimidated by them.
Got a small
Imagine
dick.
a lot.
So the focus there was more just like make sure whatever he's singing you're matching harmonically, and keep the volume low just so it's like an extra element that's being added to the mix. I could have gone a little bit crazier and just worked a little harder at that particular thing, but it just wasn't. I knew it wasn't gonna be loud in the mix because it's kind of a little less important. And at the end of the song, it's just triads, so matching the little end bridge thing or whatever you want to call it. It's just basic root position triads, but they are kind of being. I guess they're not root position, but they're triads that are like kind of inverting with some basic, like I guess you'd call it counterpoint, if that's something you could say without sounding like really stupid. But yeah, I mean it's counterpoint, I guess. So see if you can hear it.
Only is my dick small.
Well, you can't hear it because it's really quiet. Hold up.
Only is my dick small. I also have hypospadias.
What is that?
So it's just that trick where you take a triad and you go to the next chord and you try to go. So like this is I want to say a D triad, right? Yeah. And the next chord you have to go to in this particular arrangement is it's going like D to E, right? So when you go D to E, you just try to find like a way to do it that has minimal movement, like so you don't have to jump around, and you just try to make it so that there's half step movement and whole step movement and not a lot of a whole lot of leaps. And then you can add movement inside of them, like in between this chord and the next chord. I just added another movement back down to this or D flat or whatever. So just I guess it's basic, but if nobody's ever exposed you to that, that might be helpful. I'm gonna bring the strings back down though because they were not that loud in the mix. Okay. Drums. We should just like look at the drum part because I think it's kind of cool. I don't know if I can make this. Yeah. All right. So might be hard to understand this. This is your kick drum. This is your snare drum. Hi-hats. These are different hi-hat articulations. So these three are just different open, closed, and foot on the hi-hat. These are crash cymbals. These are like, so this is, let me see. I want to see if I can show you where the toms are too. Toms should be these. Okay. So let's just watch some of the drums play through so you guys can get an idea. So this is like the verse.
Living with a small deformed dick is a living hell.
I'll bring the drum bus up in volume so you can really hear them better. Drums are here. It might clip. I hope it doesn't. We'll see. I've tried to make sure we had plenty of headroom for this.
Living with a small deformed dick is a living hell.
So it's like a hi-hat groove. Some open and closing with the hi-hats. And then this is pretty much the same thing. It's just got a different ending. Like,
Too much.
and then these right here are when you like choke the cymbals, like kill them. So it's yeah. Let's see. Drums. So you can kind of hear it. Instead of having it ring out, it chokes there, which does help because I wanted that transition to be kind of digital, like da da da, and like just kind of cut there right into the chorus, like have it be kind of choppy, you know. And then you get to the chorus. So chorus, the guitars are kind of doing a really basic. What would the pattern be? The progression. It's 6 4 5 1. I guess you would say 1/7 back to the 6. I don't know. I think that the last so 6 4 5 1 7 6 6 4 5 5 2 4 5. Shit, I don't know. But it's basically like it's a pretty basic progression. For the guitarist out there, the song's in drop D, so it's 6th fret on the low E string, fourth fret on the low E string bar or power chord, so it's just 4 4 4, open string, so 0 0 0 2, and then the 7th fret to the kind of the 6th fret, but it's more of a split chord thing, back to the 4th fret. So I don't know, if I had a guitar in my hand, I'd be able to explain it better. But it's not really a hard progression. And once again, these are highly edited, so they do sound kind of weird on their own. See if you can hear it. They're just kind of strange. Like right there, you can hear the edits, like just kind of being weird. See if you can hear it. Like if I had more time on this mix and my computer wasn't freaking out, I would have gone through and made sure that wasn't happening. But my computer just started freaking out. It's probably time for a new MacBook. This is a MacBook Air that's doing. It's a 2020 though, so it's not like old. But if I had an M1 chip in this thing, which I don't, it would handle a lot of this audio stuff better. So probably time to upgrade. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this next part's pretty much the same, I think. Okay. Really the bridge, or sorry, this second verse, in my opinion, is just where the guitars start showcasing themselves. Once again, highly edited, but I do think this part will sound good. It's a cool guitar part. I really like this here. See if you like it. I think that's an edit there. Let me see. No, that was just my computer being stupid. So those are just obviously like really closely voiced chords. That riff, so the left ear is taking the low part of the harmony, and the right ear is getting the high part of the harmony, and together they are harmonized. So it's kind of cool. Here's the little pitch effect on the lead guitar, which I didn't really go into the lead guitars yet. Lead guitar part is like this. I like this. This is cool. It's supposed to match "Intimidated by Them," I think. So let's see. And then this is "You Are Proud of Your Day." And then the second time it plays, I bumped the volume down because it's one of those things like in a mix when you've already heard something. Like this is minus 3 dB, and then the next time it's minus 6.5 because once you've already heard it, the volume of it can kind of gradually go down because you already heard the part. So you can clear up some headroom in the mix by just bringing the second time it plays back down a little bit. kind of a little trick for you guys. I'm gonna go back. I don't want to forget any lead guitar parts. I know there's this. So there's right before the chorus, there's this little thing. I guess it's a chaos chord, is what you would call it. Just a quick way to know what it is, but some people call it that. But it's just, once again, a dissonant chord all over that type of music in that time period. So just closely voiced chords, really. That's all it is. A lot of times it's just the major seventh of the key that you're in and the root back and forth, or it's the third of the key that you're in and the major seven in the octave, or it's between the 3 and the 4, and you just find those two locations on the guitar in the key that you're in, and realistically that's like the sound of this music, the dissonant sound that you get. Cool. Okay, so I know there's more stuff in this song to cover besides like mixed stuff. And I do want to do mixed stuff. I don't know if you guys don't like mixed stuff, like all the specific technical stuff. We don't have to cover that stuff. I like it. I think it's cool. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's go to the end of the song and listen to the guitars at the end. In the final mix, the lead guitar, a specific lead guitar part, ended up being too loud. It's right here. I wish my computer would have let me like bounce it after. Like I tried to lower the volume, but in another mix that I bounced, but that just my computer wouldn't let me get all the way through the song. So it ended up just being kind of loud here, which it's not fun, but it's how it ended up being. So this part, let's see. This is the part that I think is too loud in the final mix that's on YouTube. So that's not only is my dick small, I also have. Okay, so that's that part. But that's not even like the coolest part. I like this octave part that I kind of came up with for this bridge. And it sounds good if you play it with the vocal. Let's see, but the vocal, here we go. I'm gonna hide some of these tracks again. Okay. So here's the lead vocal and the octave part that I really want to show you guys.
Not only is my dick small, I also have hypospadias.
What is that?
I don't know.
That?
I think
Yeah, stop,
hypospadias
okay.
is actually where the urethra is on the bottom of your penis.
Oh no.
So your dick hole is like on the neck. I have a.
So once again, I guess that's like counterpoint stuff. You have one. There are octaves on the guitar, which I think a lot of you guys are probably familiar with how to play that kind of thing. When you're playing distorted guitar, playing like actual guitar chords, like open cowboy chords, just don't really sound very good. So a good workaround to get some like prettier sounds is to just play octaves, but then harmonize them, and that'll give you sort of, your thirds and your sevens and all your pretty notes, without having to play those really kind of dense. Like if you just play them in bar chords, they sound really bad in my opinion. So you have one guitar playing, like here I have the rhythm guitars playing the power chords, and then the octaves harmonize those power chords, which kind of gives you your thirds and your sevens and all that. So see if you can hear what I'm talking about. So that's really like what's going on there. Yeah. I'm gonna make this smaller again because doesn't need to be that big. Okay. So yeah, that's just a cool little trick to add some, harmonic movement to it, as opposed to the just playing like actual chords. So, but yeah, one of them is going down, one's going up. So see if you can hear that. I think this is the one going up. That's pretty much going up the scale, except skipping a note on the. It's like na 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 na. So it's skipping a note in the key of, I think the song's in D or D sharp. Or maybe, I don't know. I'll have to find out. Um, I remember writing it and thinking for the whole time it was in D, but I don't think it's in D. I think it's in A. So, but yeah. And then here's the other one, going down. Sorry, up, I think. All right, it's going down. Okay. And then once again, there's some weird edits in there, man, that I wish my computer would have let me kind of fix up. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. This whole song is full of glitchy sounds, partially because of it being Linkin Park, and also, well, I mean, all the artifacts you get when you take a vocal and you try to make it into like a podcast and make it into a song, right? Okay. Kind of the moment you guys have been waiting for is all the editing on the vocals, right? I mean, that's kind of the big thing. I did use Melodyne, like I said. I don't know if I said anything about that, but I did use Melodyne, and not a huge fan of Melodyne. I don't like the way like the workflow of it. I should have just used FlexPitch and Logic, and I did end up just doing a lot of work in FlexPitch because I just wasn't happy with just the way Melodyne tries. The way it does rhythm for me is just it's just not preferred. I like FlexPitch. Melodyne sounds better, but I just feel like FlexPitch, it's so much easier to manipulate rhythm. So I kind of used a mix of both. So I went into Melodyne, fixed the pitch and a little bit of the rhythm, and then I bounced out of Melodyne. And that's why those tracks are hidden. And then out of Melodyne, these are the Melodyne comps, meaning just like all the Melodyne edits. And then I opened those up and edited well, let's see, can I find them? Like if you look at, find a way to show the flex pitch edits. Normally when I open this, it would show me the flex pitch stuff. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, I did use flex pitch on these. So I didn't use the pitch stuff as much. I did do most of the pitch in Melodyne for this, even though I don't think I would continue doing that. I just wanted to try it with this song. I don't know. And I'm probably not going to keep trying it because it's like $100 and I own it and I feel like I should be using it, but it's just not, like, I don't know. I just don't. And I guess it's not $100. It's more than $100 if you get like the better version, but like the base version is $100. So that's the one I have. Maybe the better version's better. Of course it's better, but maybe it's like, I don't know, easier to use, but not a big fan of it. Anyways, the only good thing about Melodyne is it does make it easier to do harmonies because you can snap it to a key and then just drag it up. So I do use the Melodyne for the harmony stuff, but besides that, it's not my favorite. So, it's kind of hard to show what I did with all this. I really just did a lot of pitch correction and time aligning, like a lot. This hardly really resembled a song, like, 'cause what Nick was singing was more like back and forth between like 120 beats per minute and 130. It was just all kind of changing in tempo. And he's singing on a lot of upbeats, like he's singing on the and a 1 and the and a 3 and the and a 4, like, and those are just hard to time, So it was a kind of lengthy. It was actually the thing that took the longest was to get all of this vocally to line up with the tempo that I decided was probably the best. Which for me it was 120. It just seemed like that was the one that was going to. it was kind of in the middle of all the extremes in tempo and the podcast, so it just seemed like the one that would work. But yeah, if you look, like, you could see all this stuff has been moved. So like, I wish there was a way to show. If I turned off flex pitch, yeah, you could see. Now this is all after Melodyne already did some work too, though. So keep in mind, like, this is after Melodyne did stuff. So if I even just do this, you'll see. See how things are moving over here. So that's some timing stuff that I fixed. Let's see what that sounds like. Let me put these effects back on the vocals, because they're just not going to come through at all if I don't have those on. Also, yeah, there's a lot of vocal effects on these. I'm going to try to cover that too. I know there's so much to cover. Ugh, it's overwhelming. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So we'll just listen just really quick to demonstrate before and after the flex pitch did the time alignment. So this is before, actually, here.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick. It would be a total.
So I mean, it's pretty close, actually. And then flex pitch on. It's really probably not going to make a big difference even here.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I.
So just stretching out if I, instead of it being like if I, it's just timing it more like how you would track it if you were listening to the song. Cool. Let's let the final thing be these vocals, and we'll probably call it before my computer freaks out and I lose all this work. All right. So lead vocal. It'll be this one, I think. Yeah. Okay. So very first thing I do for most of these is control the S's. Nick's S's are different than Stav's. Stav has like a whistle. It's like brutal, like so brutal, and you just can't get rid of a tooth whistle sound. Like, it's not an EQ thing. It's like a sound inherent to the actual like vocal track that you're getting, and it's so annoying. So yeah, that's a de-esser essentially. That's kind of what it's doing. Let's mute or bypass the other ones and just listen to. I'm going to bypass these two. So what's happening here is all these vocals are going to this bus here. Okay, that's why it's called the main vocal bus. And this does have a vocal rider on it. We'll go into that really quick. These are sending to delays and reverbs. We can listen to those. I think, let's see if they come through. So yeah, it might sound like there's no reverb on this mix for the vocals, but it's just very quiet. And I probably could have added more in retrospect, but I don't know. It's very easy to go overboard with reverb on vocals, so I always try to be on the side of just caution, I guess. So let's listen to the S's here and just see what it's doing.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick.
So it's getting rid of a lot of the harsh stuff, and it might sound muffled, but what we're gonna do is control it when it gets too aggressive, and then bring it back in after it's controlled, and that's kind of the method that you use. This is just a preset. Could have used any other compressor out there, but I just ended up using this for some reason.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick.
So hardly doing anything, because I think the MV2 is going to do all the heavy lifting. EQ, adding top end after removing some top end there. Controlling some of the low mid. NV2 will be like the thing that does a lot of the heavy lifting here. So see if you can hear it.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I...
Probably once again, like if Waves ever made like two good plugins, it's these ones. It's Vitamin and MV2. MV2 is just awesome. So you bring up the low level and the high level. And you can lower the output too if you don't want to add volume, but it's just, squeezes it. And actually like the sound of a lot of, like honestly, once again, like 2000s like records is the MV2. Like it's been used on so many records from the 2000s. It's not even funny. So it's part of the sound. Cool. More dynamic control in the S's and a little bit more top end, more low mid control. You know, I don't know. It sounds okay, so we're going with it, you know.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick.
So yeah, there you go. De-esser. This is probably pretty important. Once again, controlling the harsh S's.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick.
Let's go to something where it's got S's though. We gotta find a part that has S's.
I reject everyone who comes close and I feel...
Okay, there's some S's there, so listen to it.
Who comes close and I feel...
So you have to be careful. If you overdo it, it'll sound like a cat's got your tongue, like that cat got my tongue, or something like that. It'll sound like, so you'll hear it.
Who comes close and I feel... Who comes close and I feel...
Like gives you a lisp. Let's see.
Who comes close and I feel...
So you gotta be kind of careful, but yeah, just a little bit of de-essing. That's pretty standard with modern mixes because vocals tend to be loud in modern mixes and pretty bright. Okay, and then pull tech at the end. Once again, no low added because it's a vocal, but a little bit of top end. That is doing something, I think. See if you can hear it.
Who comes close and I feel... Who comes close and...
That de-esser you can hear is not where I think I had it. It's like pretty de-essing.
Who comes close and I feel intimidated by them.
So whatever. And then the last thing is the vocal writer, which is cool. All it does is automatically control the volume of the vocals. So and it's set to such a narrow range here that like essentially if it's just a little bit too loud, it'll bump it down the slightest bit. See if you... I don't even know if we'll find a part where it'll activate, but...
Who comes close and I feel intimidated by them.
I got a small
Imagine
dick.
a life where you are proud of your dick.
So yeah, there's really nothing activating it right now, but... That's the vocal writer. What it'll do is really when the singing just gets a little, or just maybe one random word pops out too much, it'll duck it down a little bit. But cool. That's pretty much the mix. There is a master to it. I don't have the master bus like on here, so it's on a different session, but there is some stuff with the master. Let's take I'm going to add these back in because I do want to... Let's go over those pitch guitars really quick. 1 second. Let's go over the pitched guitar parts again with the auto pan so you can hear that because I forgot to activate that. Okay, you'll see what's going on with these. It's pretty cool. So they're just panning like crazy, and then they are sending to reverb and delay. I like to do reverb and delay on guitars in Logic and not with pedals. They just pedals are awesome for like pedals sound better I think sometimes too, but I don't know. Doing it in the box as they say, doing it in Logic is just it's perfectly in time with the metronome and the tempo of the song, so it's also just easier to change if you want to change something. So yeah, a little bit of reverb on the snare, not a whole lot. That's what this is. It's sending to the snare. Um, reverb on the main vocal, delay on the main vocal. The delay, we can look at that. Dotted eighth note and eighth note triplet. For me, that's like a cool sound, and then there's some low cut into it, so it's not like just a bunch of low end from the vocals coming into the delay. But dotted eighth note and eighth note triplet, it's just like a bouncy sound because it's on the upbeats kind of. So if you sing on the downbeats, it'll put the delay on the upbeats, which kind of keeps it out of the way of what the singer's singing, and I like doing that a lot. You'll see that on pretty much everything I do. Right, so that's pretty much the mix. I'm trying to look around and make sure I'm not forgetting anything important, 'cause I'll regret it. Oh, the most important thing, of course, right here, Adam's vocals. I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, so let's listen to those. This is like the first time he's contributed anything to a remix, at least that I've done. So this is cool.
A small dig. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I like that. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so a frequency shift. Let's check this out. This is cool. This is good stuff. I'm gonna bypass this. Sketch cassette. It is a little plugin that makes everything sound like it was recorded on a cassette tape, and there's a saturation knob that you can play with. You can make them sound brand new or worn out. You can do different types of cassette tapes. It is a fantastic plugin. If you're making like lo-fi beats, like this is the one plugin you should buy. It's like $20. It's a fantastic plugin. It's really fun. And it just gives you that lo-fi sound. See if you can hear it.
A small dig. I don't know why. A small dig. I don't know why. A small dig. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like really lo-fi. And then I boosted some top end back in.
A small dig. I don't know why.
So I'm getting the saturation from the sketch cassette. Delay?
A small dig. I don't know why.
Probably a bit overkill, but I don't know. Auto pan.
A small dig. I don't know why.
I don't even know if that's doing anything. Hold up.
A small dig. I don't know why.
It's definitely doing something, but the delay is kind of covering what it's doing. And then frequency shift. This is, I think, pretty important in this particular track.
A small dig. I don't know.
Right, so it's just climbing up in pitch, especially hitting those delays. That's why those delays are happening before the frequency shift, because I wanted the delays to be shifted as well.
A small dig. I don't know.
Cool. And then I think this other one is like more or less the same thing. No, it's not. Let's see what this is. What's going on?
A small dig. I don't know why.
Okay, so it is the same thing. The remix thing here is actually for later in the song. I think it's this one, where it'll go small deal, or I think it. Let's see, it'll like have a little drop on it. See if you can hear it.
A small dig. I don't know why.
Yeah, so it's just dropping on the no.
A small dig. I don't know why.
So on this thing, if you hit the stop button, it'll just do a little DJ scratch thing on it, or a little slow down sound. Cool. Same thing here, same thing going on.
A small dig. I don't know why.
Cool. And then it happens again at the end of the song, right here.
Small dick, I don't know why. Small dick, I don't know why. Small dick, I don't know why. Small dick, I don't know why.
And those ones are a little bit drier. They are being bussed to a delay as opposed to having a delay inserted on them. And it's a little less delay, so it's more intelligible in the mix. Cool. Let's listen to the song a little bit. Why not?
Small dick, I don't know why.
Living with a small D. One dick is a living hell.
Let's cover that. Living Hell over here. I knew I wanted to do that, like, right away. It's just one of those things I'm like, all right, I'm making a remix because, like, I gotta do a little delay throw there. It just will be hilarious. And it's a delay throw with a auto pan on it, so see if you can hear what that's doing. I'm sure you guys know what that sounds like at this point, right? This auto pan thing.
Living hell.
And that one's just kind of automatically panning the vocal back and forth. And once again, that is after the delay, so that the delay also pans with the auto pan. Pretty important. Let's listen further.
One dick is a living hell. I can't take it anymore. The pain is getting too much.
Let's check that out there. It'll be, I believe, on the instrumental bus. Right. Okay, so remix, the same thing that we did on Adam's vocal. It's going on here. I think it's just a little stop button. You'll see it. Very quick. Getting too much. And that's just an easy way to get that DJ sound without having to bring out a DJ controller or something.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick. It would be a totally different world. I have no motivation for anything because of my high dick. I reject every girl who comes close, and I feel intimidated by them.
Got a small dick.
Also, at this point in the song, let's see, let me close some of these. At this point in the song, the DJ stuff kind of comes back in. So that little keyboard part and the little scratchy sounds, those kind of find their way back into the song. And they actually come back up in the bridge, too.
Do they come yet? Small dick, I don't know why. Small dick.
And the song ends with it, too. And then the strings at the end of the song actually are in when they aren't involved in the beginning, which I think is cool because at the beginning of the song it's kind of ambiguous. You don't really know what the harmony is going to be because it's just do 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 those three notes, and there's really no chord sequence to go along with it. But at the end of it, you do have some harmony, so it's kind of reinforcing what the finale of the song kind of did. It's a cool little trick to do that in production, to obviously start with an idea and then finish with that same idea, but with some knowledge that she gained along the way, you know. But yeah, like realistically, that's like a really old trick that everybody's known for years. But if nobody's ever told you about that, then now you know. Cool. I think I can happily say. Also, this is the print. Okay, so this is the print, meaning I bounced everything down, printed it into here. When I print a mix, I print it through I typically print through some Neve 511 preamps and that's really it. I have like a summing box that has a bit of a sound to it as well. So it's like an analog summing mixer. And that adds something to it as well. But really just printing through those Neve preamps, just running everything through it. All the guitars ran through Neve preamps on this, so these are all tracked through a Neve 511. The bass was tracked through the Neve 511. For the guitar tones, I should mention, because that's something that matters. Obviously, an SG was actually used for all of it, and I used a Podgo with the Rev Generator amp model. Very good sounding model for this sort of thing. It's actually, in my opinion, the best sounding amp on that Podgo. The Podgo is an interesting little thing. It's not my favorite, but the bass sounds and that Rev Generator sound, at least for metal, is like really, really solid. And I think the box, the actual pedal thing, is like $400, maybe 500, close to 500. And it's got all the same sounds as the Podgo, or sorry, the Line 6 Helix. So it's a more budget-friendly version of that. Definitely worth checking out. So cool. Well, this has been Pigorn with the Linkin Park remix. If you guys have any questions about anything I said in the video, just email me at pigornremixes@gmail.com, and I will try to answer some things. And thank you guys for tuning in. Let's play it out with the song. Peace.
Small dick, I don't know why.
Living with a small deformed dick is a living hell. I can't take it anymore. The pain is getting too much. Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick. It would be a totally different world. I have no motivation for anything because of my high dick. I reject every girl who comes close, and I feel intimidated by them.
Got a small
Imagine
dick.
a life where you are proud of your dick and you want to show it off to girls. Imagine a life where you don't think about your dick 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Small dick, I don't know why.
Every day I imagine how my life would be if I had a big dick. It would be a totally different world. I have no motivation for anything because of my high dick. I reject every girl. Not only is my dick small, I also have hypospadias.
What is that? I don't know.
that?
I think hypospadias is actually where the urethra is on the bottom of your penis.
Oh no.
So your dick hole is like on the neck.
I have a lot
Yeah,
of
a condition in which the
scar
opening of the
tissue.
penis is on the underside rather than the tip.
Pigs. Yeah.
Damn, this guy's fucked.
Hold on, let me do it as a song.
Not only
Is my dick small? I also have hypospadias. I have a lot of scar tissue. It's bent weird, and the pee hole is on the underside of
do they
my
come
head.
yet?
Small dick, I don't know why. Small dick, I don't know why. Small dick, I don't know why. Small dick, I
These
don't
pictures
know
are
why.
brutal.
Just imagine that. You're trying to jack off in a girl's face and you just come on your own balls.
Oh God. Chances are, man.
Dude, these pictures are brutal. These dicks are getting
There's some
chopped
guys
up.
listening to this right now just punching things.
I'm sorry, guys. You can make it.
Apologies to you guys.
Oh, this guy has a really little dick. It looks straight up like a pussy.
Yeah, it looks like a clit.